What up, what up? Zach Bradshaw, long-winded guy here. And you see from the clickbaity title, we're trying to answer this question, is Hyperwave dead? I don't think it's dead. I think that Leah and Tyler have done a poor job explaining what it would mean for Hyperwave if Bitcoin did not ever return to 1300, as opposed to saying like, no, it's going to do that, no, it's going to do that, no, it's going to do that. And then people get really confused thinking that if Hyperwave or if Bitcoin does not return to 1300, that Hyperwave is dead. That's like has nothing to do with Hyperwave, right? Hyperwave has to do with the first 7 waves essentially and calling the top. Then based on hundreds of examples, Tyler has a hypothesis about once it hits that top, what happens, what levels it needs to return to, right? So they basically have 2 different scenarios. One where it returns all the way down to like, I think it's the phase 1 line or something. I'm definitely not a Hyperwave expert, but I understand this much about it. And I think I understand people's confusion maybe a little bit better than Tyler and Leah do, because it's not my theory and I don't have any, personal investment in it. I can see where people are missing the boat on what is actually going on. So I don't know whether Hyperwave is real or not, but according to their theory, as to do with these first 7 waves, where the price returns would not, like, if price went to 20,000 tomorrow, it would have little to no bearing on Tyler's opinion on Hyperwave, because it's borne out for him in so many markets in calling the top. It doesn't have to do with where it returns to after. It very well may happen that another Hyperwave starts on top of the first Hyperwave before it's come back down, and Tyler's never seen that. It's only happened like 500 times or something like that. He only has 500 examples. That's a lot of examples. That's a really small sample size when you think about all markets and all time history and like all possibilities of price run-ups and potential hyperwaves, right? So what it would mean, what they say is Hyperwave really follows 2 patterns. One, it returns all the way to, I think it's the phase 1 line. Whatever it is, it's the price limit that it couldn't break before. And it's a horizontal line that it will return to. And right now that's at 1300, and maybe I'm not even sure if Tyler might say 900, or maybe that's Tone that mentions 900 sometimes. But the other possibility is that it gains support on the phase 2 or the phase 3 line. As it hits its top and it starts to crash, it ends up going back at a nice uphill slant. I guess to make that look on the video, it would be like this, but they go on a, it goes back on a back into a bull market or a bull uptrend. In this case, if Bitcoin doesn't go back down to 1300, what they should be saying is that this is a funky Hyperwave 2, or this is the second funky Hyperwave, or they should come up with another name for it, because it doesn't have any bearing on whether Hyperwave was valid, because it got him out at the top. That's what Hyperwave is designed to do, to say like, okay, there's an irrational run up here, where the frick do we get out? And that is what Hyperwave is all about. So people who are in Tone-based chat just like wasting space here, pissing Tone off, making it so that he had 3-minute delays to these chat things, and just want to be know-it-all trolls. Like, why don't y'all come out with your own channel, make your own predictions? Why don't y'all analyze financial markets for 40 odd years and then start to become a content producer? It's really easy to talk crap from the sidelines. But I personally have learned a lot from all 3, Tone, Tyler, Leah, really everybody that Tone brings on his channel, and then plenty of other people like Data Dash, like Ivan on Tech, like the Chart Guys, like every crypto dude I've watched, right? And Tone is one of the ones that I think is the best trader. So people who are trolling him, trolling Hyperwave for the 1300 versus 6500, like, dude, markets are irrational. They're hard to predict, and Tone is consistently trying to make the point to you guys that, like, okay, I make predictions, and they have basis of probability. So when I say that, yeah, I think we're hitting a bull trap at 5,100. If you would have asked him his percentages on a day-by-day basis, he'll be like, oh, we're probably like 60% going back down right now, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, trading is about adjusting your strategy, right? So I thought this whole freaking time one of these would end up being the tops. The way that they ended up forming, none of them have looked like tops to me. Maybe this this one that was a little bit weaker right here, like if this hadn't broken back like this and got this sharp rebound, then I would have started to get out of positions here. But it's very difficult to predict these markets. And when I go back and look at a video I was watching from Tone the other day, and I just didn't want to go find the chart myself, but you can see here that Bitcoin, along one of its other runs, had this crazy curve of a parabolic run up and then crashed again. And so, like, shoot, I did a good job in this case, got a little bit lucky playing this run. I'm not sure whether, I already took some profit. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was 6,350 or if it was 6,500, something like that yesterday, but somewhere between that range yesterday. So I'm not really keen to take more profit right now. I'm not getting into more positions. This is doing this crazy action because eventually it's going to fall out of the curve and do whatever it does next. And then, the strategy will change, right? But I do think that there's a possibility that this goes up and taps, like it's already gotten close to 72. I think it's going to go up and break through 72. It may only do it on another wick and then start to come back down. Or it may, again, go up to 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, maybe 12,000. I don't know. And neither do these guys. Neither does Hyperwave. Neither does Tone Vase. What they try to do is try to make probability-based assessments on where the price is going so that they can make good financial decisions, right? And obviously, Tone maintains a YouTube channel, takes very few trades. Tyler maintains big money clients and has to keep their money safe, which is one of the things that I think that people really miss when they're like, oh, how do you like all you guys are trading with $100 or $1,000 or something like that. Other people and people who are like really serious about trading, it's like, dude, they really don't want to lose 1% because that's a lot of money. And so that is often more important, especially when you're coming from the perspective of Tone Vase, who's a master in finance, worked at Bear Stearns or whatever the heck it's called, and has been on Wall Street, or Tyler Jenks, who is like a 40-year, I think, veteran of Wall Street and managing hedge funds. Like, shut up! All you trolls in the chat are just like you're children. And then has institutional clients to this day. So these guys put their money where their mouth is. It's their vocation. It would have been great to catch every single bottom and get out at every single top, but like, dude, nobody's going to do that for you. You have to make trading decisions yourself. And no, Hyperwave is not dead. Hyperwave has just entered maybe a funky Hyperwave 2, or it's just going to be borne out the same as all of the other ones, because like we're not even halfway there yet. Like the time that this is going to take for us to know whether we're actually going up or whether we're actually going to break new highs, in my opinion, like, dude, I could be wrong, right? Like, I'm just making a prediction. But it's going to take some more months, maybe some more years, you know what I mean? In order to get back to higher levels and then, really know, like, okay, are we going to break 20,000? And, for all you guys that are thinking really short term, I think a lot of you guys are kids, or are younger and don't have a long term mindset, and like, oh man, these last 5 months now of positive price action. If you feel like you've missed something from that, then you feel unfortunate. But this is something that I think that for me, I'm loving this atmosphere. I'm loving how people are so opinionated and think all these different things. All that tells me is that the market is going to do some crazy stuff, and if you're paying attention, you're going to be able to make some money on it, because markets run on emotion. Everybody's all emotional. So I can't wait to see what happens next, whether it's 10,000, whether it's 1,300. I'm going to be prepared for it. And so thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Tone Vase. Thank you, Chart Guys, Data Dash, everybody else that I watch, and other trading people that I watch as well in other assets. But that's enough rambling on this one. Hyperwave is not dead. It's like might not be perfect, but I don't know it is. So this is Zach Bradshaw, long-winded guy, and this is, I guess, another episode of Zach Learns Investing or Zach Learns Trading. But enough for now. Peace.